The year is 2028, and the concept of whether the use of robots to fight crime will benefit humans or lead to our doom is explored in this futuristic sci-fi movie. Alex Murphy, an outstanding cop, suspects that there are dirty cops in his department. A scene shows Alex walking through the Detroit police headquarters as he goes to give his report to his superior, the chief of the Detroit Police Department. There are two people in the room as he enters, two detectives who had been working on the case he took. The chief demands his report, but he refuses to give it unless they are alone. He accuses the two detectives of being either incompetent or in bed with a criminal. We then find out that Alex's partner, Jack Lewis, is in the hospital. How did he get there? Alex and Jack had been buying guns from illegal sources, hoping to infiltrate the underground weapon scene. One of their customers, Jerry, confessed to being supplied by Antoine Vallon, one of the most notorious arms dealers on the scene. Somehow, they find a way to get a sit-down meeting with him. Trying to maneuver him into an arrest, they keep their cover, and things are looking pretty good. Until Vallon receives a phone call and steps away from the table and heads toward his car. Alex figures someone tipped him off and acted quickly. A shootout occurs, and even though Alex survives, Jack ends up being shot down and has to be taken to the hospital. Thankfully, he survived. Before the shootout, Jack had proposed they request backup, but Alex smelled a rat. He suspected that if they called for backup, Vallon would get away. He did, in fact, escape, but he was so furious at almost being arrested that he called his two contacts in the DPD. They suggest killing Alex since he's already on their tails. Vallon is a bit skeptical, not wanting to be associated with killing a cop, but they assure him there will be no traces back to him. A while later, we see one of Vallon's men placing something on Alex's car. Oblivious to the tampering, Alex drives home as usual and greets his wife and son. After a while, the car begins to beep. Not wanting to wake his sleeping son, Alex hurries to switch it off, and once he gets close enough, boom, a blast goes off, leaving him in critical condition, and so RoboCop is born. Well, almost. Now we'll talk about our antagonist. Raymond Sellers is a greedy entrepreneur masquerading as someone whose priority is the safety of American citizens. He owns Omnicore, the company that produces robots that fight crime, and it's a very successful one too. He'd received international acclaim and had these robots all over the world, taking in billions of dollars. The only problem: the American Congress wouldn't let him put these machines on the street, so he'd been missing out on even more billions of dollars. The bill is called the Dreyfus Act and is headed by Senator Hubert Dreyfus. The bill argues that having and feeling robots fight crime on the streets of America would do more harm than good. Senator Dreyfus makes us understand that machines lack compassion and empathy, and these qualities are very important when dealing with American citizens. So Raymond gets to thinking, what if he could give the American citizens what they want? What if he could merge robotic and human qualities together? This is where physical rehabilitation Dr. Dennett Norton comes in. He hopes to give amputees their lives back by giving them robotic body parts. Raymond takes advantage of Norton's passion and promises to fund the research that would bring his RoboCop dreams to life. This takes us back to Alex. He's the ideal candidate for the project and is in critical condition. Since his wife wants to save his life, she signs the consent form to get the project started so she and their son can see him again. It all sounds great, but things get a bit complicated. Firstly, we see that Alex is having trouble getting used to being a robot. He demands to see what human parts are left of him, and we see that while he still has his brain, face, throat, lungs, heart, and one arm, the rest of him is gone. He is horrified by this and demands to be killed. Norton reminds him of how badly his wife and child want to see him again, and he relents. He then decides to follow through. The first day of testing approaches, and he doesn't do so well. Compared to the standard company robot, he's about 5.6 seconds slower. Norton attributes this to his human emotions. They cause him to hesitate, to overthink. Raymond is not happy with this development so he asks Norton to make some adjustments. The next test then takes place, and Alex RoboCop performs really well, stunning the entire project team. He takes down so many robots and moves with the speed and flair of a machine. What exactly happened? Where did his emotions go? Turns out Norton had made some very big changes. In everyday activities, Alex was in control, but when it came to combat activities, the machine took over. As Raymond put it, Norton had created a machine that thought it was Alex. The reveal day is here, and everyone is excited. Thousands of people are gathered to witness the unveiling of RoboCop. There was a lot of curiosity and excitement in the air, but in the lab, the team had run into some problems. While trying to upload the criminal database and CCTV data to Alex's brain, he experienced a breakdown and went into seizures. Apparently, he had gotten access to all the files about the day he died and couldn't handle the emotional trauma. But he was due to face the crowd in a matter of minutes. Everything was spiraling out of control, and Norton did the only thing he could do: crash Alex's dopamine levels so he could dissociate from his emotions. On his way to the stage, he passed his wife and child without so much as a flick of emotion. And it seems he had indeed become a robot cop. He got on the stage and acted like the machine he had become. He started scanning the crowd and looking through criminal records in his head to identify a threat. He seemed to be malfunctioning, so the team got a bit worried would everything fall apart, until he found a threat. Thomas King was a rapist, murderer, and arsonist on the loose who had eluded the cops. RoboCop literally found him in a matter of seconds. The people loved him and sang nothing but his praises. He was efficient and focused, getting the job done and keeping the streets clean. But he wasn't Alex Murphy anymore. Omnicore had been keeping Clara and David away from Alex because Raymond knew they would know Alex was different. Norton was disturbed by tearing their family apart, but he felt his hands were tied, so he did nothing. One day, while Alex was on his usual crime scouting activities, Clara took matters into her own hands and approached Alex on the street, begging him to come home. She pleaded with him to come visit their son, who had been having nightmares since the blast. RoboCop told her to get out of the way and zoomed off. However, something unforeseen was happening. Something no one in the lab could have predicted. Alex was scanning his brain for info on Clara and David, and then turned around unexpectedly. We saw him go to his house, and like the team, we were curious as to what was happening. Back in the lab, someone suggested they shut him down, but Norton, ever the scientist, wanted to see what would happen. So they let it play out. After watching Alex scan various files and observe his front porch, which was the crime scene, we realized he was trying to solve his own murder. He scanned for Valon, but since he had no criminal record, that was a dead end. He then decided to backtrack. Remember the guy who first led him to Valon? Jerry. He went looking for him. Jerry led him to Valon's driver, who then helped Alex track Valon down, but Valon was prepared. At the time, we didn't know who tipped him off, but he was armed with his men in place, ready to gun down Alex. Alex, however, was a man on a mission and was ready to do everything to take him down. After a very tense action-filled shootout, Alex emerged as the last man standing after killing Valon. But the story doesn't end there. He picked up one of the weapons on the floor, scanned it, and realized it had the prints of the cops he suspected were working with Valon. He went to the police station, and there we discovered he had more than enough evidence. Video footage, prints, files, he had it all. One of the dirty cops threatened to shoot him, so he shot first and then stunned the other. But they were small fry, and he was headed for the big guns. The chief of the department, Karen Dean. It was then we realized Chief Dean was also a dirty cop. Alex found the evidence in her call records. He presented the evidence and was just about to make her give a public confession when he was suddenly shut down. Turns out Omnicore was rotten to the core, and not just money-wise. they couldn't afford to upset certain dirty politicians if they wanted to continue to rake in billions of dollars and get that bill passed. And it worked. Congress voted to repeal the act. So Omnicorp won. Also, it seemed. Norton, plagued by a guilty conscience, rushed to save Alex just as soldiers were about to kill him on Raymond Seller's command, and warned Jack, Alex's partner, of RoboCop's plans to take down Raymond so Alex would have a backup. After storming into the building, Alex planned to kill Raymond. Meanwhile, Raymond had already told Clara and David that Alex was dead. Raymond got a warning that Alex was coming for him, and to secure his safety, he decided to take Alex's family with him. As Alex worked his way through the building, he realized he was programmed to not shoot core members of Omnicorp that had been tagged as red asset, which meant he couldn't shoot Raymond. But he fought through the program and eventually shot him while simultaneously getting shot. Next, we see Alex getting repaired by Norton, the Dreyfus Act getting restored, and Alex and his family reunited with the promise that RoboCop would be back on the streets soon, keeping the American citizens safe, a fitting end as justice was served. This movie raises a lot of social issues regarding robots. What do you think of robots as cops? Let us know in the comments. Proceed to the next video on your screen. Also, like and subscribe to get updated on our videos. See you there.